What's up, everybody? I'm Corey.
And I'm Mignon.
And we want to welcome you to Tea
and Worship. Corey, can you believe that we finally made it to Hope TV?
Mignon, I can't believe it. It's been, like a year or something like that?
A year and some change.
We've been waiting.
For a mighty long time. I mean, to the point to where I literally just, I gave up. I started getting a little depressed.
Is that why you lost all this weight? Because Minnie, you Minnie.
That's a little personal. I mean,
these are friends though.
But I ain't gonna get no Gorilla Glue or nothing. And it's just called a little fast. Whatever. But
let's move on.
Anyway, we want to welcome y'all to Tea and Worship. You know what's Tea and Worship? Well, we just take a moment to introduce some amazing artists, and we interview them, and we get that good tea, that good sweet Southern tea, not that old bitter, gossipy, nasty tea, but that Corey, what are you sipping on?
This is Ivy's tea. You know about Ivy's tea? It's black owned.
I ain't never heard of that.
Yeah, you need to get you some.
It's black owned?
Yeah.
I gotta do my research
please.
Yeah. But anyway, we wanna welcome y'all to Tea and Worship.
Welcome. Now, Minnie, I want to know what's going on.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. Come on, let's talk about it. So this segment here, we want to take a moment to talk about the current situations that are happening. And so we can't let this moment go by without acknowledging the legendary Bernice Pace. Mm-hmm. I mean, I had an opportunity to work with her on her latest record, and Corey, she was phenomenal. She was an amazing person. She was consistent. Every time that I came in her presence, she was the same. And I know that everybody knows that her dream was to be on Broadway one day. And she literally made the world, Walmart, Kroger. She made it all her Broadway.
Wow. I only got to actually see her in person one time, got to sing behind her at an event, but she lit up the room. Like her whole presence, her aura just made everything, everybody was like, enthralled in what she was doing. So she will definitely be truly missed.
Absolutely. So our prayers goes out to the Pace family.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited because we have an amazing person with us today. JJ Hairston. I mean, I've been with him now for 11 years. And so I'm excited to be able to interview him today.
I just want to say that I am truly a fan. I've been listening to the Youthful Praise since 2001 when they had that album with Deliver and God is an awesome God. And when I see Jesus with the late great Lucretia Campbell, oh my God, they are one of my favorite gospel.
So everybody, welcome JJ Hairston.
Hey,
brother! I love you.
Love you too, sis. Corey, you took me back. You talk about when I see Jesus and all that. That really blessed me, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So, brother, last year you had an opportunity to interview me, and so now I get to interview you. So, I mean, this is like so exciting. Like I was sharing with him a minute ago, that you could be with a person for so long and not really get a chance to, get to know them with the changes. So kind of share a little bit with us about how things started with you.
So, first of all, this is amazing, being able to talk to Mignon. For those who don't know, Mignon started singing with me because I kidnapped her on a boat, but I'll talk about that later. She started singing with me on a cruise, and it's been history ever since. But we started as a church choir at my father-in-law's church in Bridgeport, Connecticut, Bishop J.C. White. So we were literally a church choir, not like a recording choir that decided to sing in church. We were the opposite. So we would sing every fourth Sunday. And one day, my mother-in-law, Lady Gloria White, who was always a singer, the Institutional Radio Choir, for those who don't know, used to record back in the day songs like Stretch Out, Keys to the Kingdom. They were great in their day. So she told us we were like an advertisement choir. And I was like, okay. And she said, because you guys aren't writing your own songs. So at that point, we started writing our own songs, and we recorded our first record in 1999. Jeez, that's 22 years ago. And it was a song it was a record called Call to Worship. That record became Awesome God. And it's been great ever since. The record we just released was our 11th album.
And all of the work that you've done, how in the world do you balance family life, business life, ministry life? How do you juggle it all?
So every time someone asks me that question, my wife tells me the right answer. And the right answer is there is no balance, there's prioritization. Because if you say it's balanced, then you put equal weight on both sides,
Wow.
which would mean that we give the same weight to our career and what we do musically to what we do with our family. And that's never going to be the case. Our family will always have top priority. How I treat my wife, how I treat my kids, and my assignment to steward them well will always be my first assignment. That's the highest priority. And then after that, of course, we have what we do musically. Now we also have what we do in church with our church. So it's a lot happening at the same time. But I believe God has graced us with the ability to be able to prioritize it well. And we've also put a amazing group of people around us that help us to steward our assignments well. Like YP, it's literally like a family. It's not, I can't, it's not a singing group. It's just not, if you're a part of our group chat, you'll see very little of it is about singing. Very little of it is about what we do, but it's all about building each other up. And initially, like we said, we started as a church choir, so the vision was to sing in Sunday mornings, then record. But as we started to evolve, YP for me became a place where I would want singers and musicians and people who are gifted to be able to have a safe place where you can feel the need. If you need to be transparent, you can. If you need to be able to share with people who just get it, you can. So that's why YP is so special to me, because they've been that for me. Even in this new journey with us pastoring, they've been the first supporters. And like when I didn't have a praise team, the local YP would come and do our praise and worship, because and these are people who are artists. I mean, Mignon, you got Mignon, you got Kim, you got Rich, all these people who are doing Greg Kirkland, Zeb. I mean, these are all doing amazing things, but yet they are submitted enough to support each other. And I mean, not submitted to me, but we're submitted to each other. So if someone needs something, we're just there for each other. And I think that's amazing. And that's why it's been so easy for me to prioritize what we do, because we have an amazing group of people around us at all times.
Tell me the importance of having that relationship when it comes to the industry.
Well, I think that relationships in the industry is so important, because I really believe the reason why we've been able to last as long as we have has nothing to do with our talent or our gift. It has everything to do with how people feel about our ministry after they leave us, how people feel when they're in our presence. And I've seen people who are amazingly gifted and talented, and they don't last long because people don't feel good around them. They treat people in a harsh way, and people choose not to support them or be around them. As far as us, I'm sure there are people who can sing just like us or better. But if you have any encounter with us, you'll know that you're loved. And that's been always my goal with my personal family, with the YP family, even now with the church. I want people to feel loved when they're with us. And because of that, people do things for us that they would probably charge others thousands of dollars to do, because we have a covenant relationship. So I'm talking about people like Travis Green, who's on this record. And literally, Travis didn't ask me for anything. He actually flew to me to record the song and left. That was it. I mean, it wasn't like there was no business arrangement. It was like, and he wrote the song. So it was all like people who love to support. Naomi Rain, who was like, Maverick City is like one of the hugest things in gospel music right now. But she just came like, hey, I'm here. I'm ready to go, bro. And then stayed the next day to minister to my church. So these are relationships that we've built because of how we treat people. So for anyone who's listening, I would encourage you to be as intentional about your experience with people as you are with your experience with God.
And Mignon, you touched on this a little bit, but you talked about the new album that just came out in January, Not Holding Back. And, you've done all these albums already. What is different about this particular album, JJ?
Uh, well, see, I try to be careful about how I talk about 2020 because I don't want to make an idol of 2020. I think we have given it so much power, and it's like, if you talk about it, it's like a big boogeyman. So I don't want to do that. But by the same token, writing a song, writing a record, or putting together a record in the middle of such a transitional year was um, it was it was necessary for us because it pulled out of us things that songs and experiences that probably would have not have normally happened. Like for example, the record prior to that, the Miracle Worker Project. What excited me about that record was being able to do half of it in DC and half of it in Nigeria. This record, we literally had to struggle just to be able to get together. I mean, just to be able to put six singers in a band together to record was a struggle. So we had to be intentional about every message, about every song, about everyone who's going to be a part because it was a struggle to do. So I don't think I've ever had to be as intentional about any body of work as I was with the Not Holding Back record. And I think that's what makes it so special to me. Every song was done. I think we recorded like two songs at a time, and every song I went in knowing the purpose for it. So there are no album fillers. There are no songs where I felt like it would be cool to have on there. Every song was intentionally placed where it is, and every lead is intentionally placed there because I knew that God was going to be able to minister to people in a different way coming out of that season of 2020.
How has being married, because I know you guys got married young, how has marriage helped you in your career? Like, how has that helped you?
So it's helped me in both ways. It helped me in two ways rather. It helped me because it gave me a testimony. Trina and I have been very transparent about our story. We got married very young, and then because of that, I don't know, there was so much going into us getting married. I was 20. I shouldn't say my age then because if I tell you how long we've been married, I'm gonna tell you how old I am now. But I was very young, and she was younger than me, and we went and got married. And what's so strange is that when we got married, we went to the Justice of the Peace, and then we both went to our own homes. I went to an apartment. She went back to her parents' house. So we literally got married just so we wouldn't burn, if you know what I mean. So we got married, and then because we allowed that separation to happen in our marriage initially, we wound up staying separated. So we would get together for a year and then separate for a year, and that happened over the course of 7 years. For our first 7 years, we were separating off and on. And then in 2004, late 2004, I remember I had to sing at a women's conference. I had no business having to sing at a women's conference. But Pastor Cheryl Brady was teaching, and she taught from the story of Noah. And at the end, she talked about how God remembered Noah. And in that moment, God, as clear as day, I will say it till the day I die, that I heard God speak to me and said, "I have not forgotten you." And in that moment, I'm like, okay, good, everything's about to blow up. And I'm thinking it's going to be a whole different thing ministry wise. And then Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, "Go get your family back together. Before you ask me for anything else, go get your family back together because you're ignoring your favor. You're ignoring your favor." So I went and told Trina, and we were like, comfortably separated at that point. If there's a way to say that, like I had my own space, she had her own space. My son would come to my house on weekends, and he was loving it because he would get to play Sega on the weekends, and then have his responsibilities at the house. But I remember telling her God told me we need to get back together. And she said, okay. But, she wanted to see. But I told my son, who was very young at the time, and here I am thinking that he was really happy and content. But when I told him, he just laid on my chest and cried. So at that moment, I knew that not only was our marriage affecting us, but it was affecting everything about us, our child, our music, our experience in church. Our marriage affected everything. So we got back together, and we've never parted ever since. And then after that, we recorded a record called Live to Praise the Worship. So literally, once my marriage changed, what I heard changed. My revelation about what we were supposed to sing and how we were supposed to sing it changed. So we recorded that record, and on that record was a song called Incredible God, Incredible Praise. And things have just shifted from there. And now we're able to mentor other couples, other people, and tell them how to restore their marriage. So how is it affecting me? It's affecting me musically because now I now have a covering of marriage over my ministry. And secondly, because I'm able to minister in a different space, in a different way, in a much more transformed way. And I'm able to tell everyone that God really does restore. It's not something I heard. It's not something I read. It's what I know because I've experienced it myself.
With all the success that you've had, obviously, what are your plans for the future? What do you see for yourself in the next, few years?
What else can you
Well,
do?
listen, so what's amazing is last 2 years ago in October of 2019, actually it was earlier in 2019, we did a tour called the Love and Miracles Tour. Y'all was a part of that for a few of the dates, and we were promoting the Miracle Worker record. And prior to going out, Trina and I said, we asked God, we said, we want direction for what's happening next for us by the time we end this tour. We need to know where we're going. Because, you know, what most gospel artists won't tell you is that this is not enough. There's gotta be more. You'll get to a place where you've done the Stellar Awards every year, and you've
Mhm.
recorded, and you release your record, you do a promo tour, you look to see where you charted, and you promote for another month or two, you wait for the Stellars, and then the cycle begins all over after the Stellars or after the Grammys or whatever award show you wait for. And it's not enough just to release music and not be able to measure impact any other way than what the charts say. So we said we needed to know what was next. And the next to last date, we were singing at my father-in-law's church where it all started. We wound up being back there. And after we had like a revival in service. It was crazy. And he came to me afterwards and said, it's time to stop running. You know God has called you to pastor. Stop running. Within 24 hours, within 24 hours, 3 o'clock the next day, I'll never forget. Apostle Matthew Stevenson FaceTimed Trina and I and said, I'm ready. I need to start a work in Washington, D.C. Will you lead it? Within 24 hours of my father-in-law declaring that over us. So he announced us in October of 2019, and we officially launched as a campus, as a church in December of 2020. So my plans for the next 2 years is to grow and build. The It's amazing to now have to shepherd people, even though people keep saying that I've had this opportunity. I've been doing this with YP for so long, but honestly, I don't feel like I don't have to lead them because we lead each other. We build each other. But now in this space, I think what I'm doing is taking the same model that I have with YP, is creating a space where people can grow, not where I can grow. I'm not building a kingdom to myself. I've created a space, and hopefully God is going to continue to help us to create a space where people can grow, learn, and be restored. So that's what our mission and our goal is for the next 2 years.
So how can you
Mhm.
encourage people in this moment to take advantage of this time? Be creative, like do something different. So when the world does open up, you won't be trying to look for the same things. Like, what can you say to us about that?
I would say anyone who thinks you're going back to normal has wasted a year of your life. Because if you go back, if we come out of this and you look exactly the same as you did last year, that means you have accomplished nothing with a whole year. There is no more. Our normal will be new when we come out of this. When we come out of this, we're going to go back to a church that may not have the same pastor, may not have the same people. We may go back to jobs where people have gone, people have died. There is no normal. The normal will be established once we come out of this. So you should be taking your time now to set up what you want your normal to look like when we come out. That means financially, that means spiritually, that means emotionally. Everyone needs to have grown and established what you want to be in this time that we've had to isolate in 2020 going into 2021.
Well, I hate to say it,
but
we're
this is so good.
This is awesome.
Encourage everybody, all the viewers, to go and support JJ. Go and get the new record.
Please,
like, not holding back. If you don't have it, you're missing out. So please go and support. JJ, you want to share ways we can follow you, where we can find the record? You want to share all of that?
Sure, I'd love to. Thank you so much for this time. You know, I got to say thank you to Dr. E. Dewey Smith, amazing man of God that I've honored for many years. He's the singingest, preachingest pastor that any of us know. So thank you, sir. Thank you to both of you and everyone who's involved with this show. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at JJ Hairston. My wife is at Trina Hairston. And if you want to learn more about our church, you can follow us at All Nations DC. We'd be honored for you to check out our messages and our worship and whatever we do. We'd love for you to see it. As far as our new record, Not Holding Back, it's available on all digital platforms. We'd love for you to get it. We're on Apple, Amazon, Google Play, Tidal, Spotify, whatever you do, the music is there. So we'd love for you to check it out. It has some amazing songs with some amazing people leading them. And I'm just honored that we were able to release it.
Well, JJ, we want to thank you again.
Thank you so much
for being with us. We know you're a very busy man.
Our first guest.
Woo!
History in the making.
I'm so excited.
Thank you.
So we don't want you to miss our next episode of Tea and Worship. You better not miss it. Y'all better be here because we're going to be here. So y'all got to be here as well.
So now we want to go out with worship and praise with our brother, JJ Hairston.
Thanks a lot. Who has the final say? Jehovah has the final say. Who has the final say? Jehovah has the final say. And no matter what, the doctor said, Jehovah has the final say. And no matter what the news may say, Jehovah has. Let's go. Say I have no reason to fear. Say I have no reason to fear. The Lord is my life. The Lord is my life. We want to encourage you. I know you're in a struggle, but you have no reason to fear. Say I have no reason to fear. The Lord is my life. The Lord is my life. The Lord is my life. Come on, Tiff, let's go. Tell me who has the final say. Jehovah has. Yes, Lord. The final say. I want to know who has the final say. Jehovah has. Thank you, Lord. The final say. If you know who your Lord is, give him the glory. Open up your mouth and give it to him. Because he's a protector, because he's a provider, because he's a